They called him the greatest trader in Wall Street history, until one day, the markets swallowed him whole. I remember the first time I truly understood the power of speculation, the pulse of the market, the tension between fear and greed. Imagine standing in a room where every tick of the ticker tape feels like a drumbeat, counting down your next fortune or your next ruin. Jesse Livermore, the boy who taught himself the stock market in Boston and went on to make and lose fortunes that most can only dream of, was not just trading numbers, he was wrestling with human nature itself. Wall Street, with its skyscrapers and flashing screens, is a place that seduces brilliance but punishes pride. Livermore wasn't just a man of strategy, he was a man of instinct. And that instinct, as sharp as it was, came at the cost of solitude, emotional turmoil, and a relentless self-examination. Today, I want you to walk with me through his journey, not just the victories that made headlines, but the losses that were whispered in hushed tones, the lessons most traders never see coming. Think about this. How many times have you seen someone make an incredible trade, one that seems almost prophetic, only to watch them crumble under pressure the next day? Jesse Livermore lived this paradox. He made millions by following the tape, reading the subtle mood of the market, and understanding that prices move for reasons far deeper than charts or indicators. Yet his greatest battles weren't on the trading floor, they were inside his own mind. Have you ever felt unstoppable in a trade, only to see it slip away? Comment below and tell me your story. Let's see if it echoes Livermore's struggle. As we dive into his life, I want you to imagine the world he navigated. A world without algorithms, without instant news feeds, a world where every trade demanded courage, patience, and the willingness to face your deepest fears. And yet, even in this world, Livermore's story offers timeless lessons, not just for Wall Street veterans, but for every trader staring at a screen, wondering if they can beat the market and themselves. And this is where we begin, the inner conflict that defines every trader's life, the paradox that Jesse Livermore wrestled with day after day. The question is, how do you make fortune when every instinct, every desire pushes you toward ruin? Let's step into that struggle, the very heartbeat of the trader's paradox, and uncover the psychological battlefield that Livermore faced with every tick of the market. Every trader thinks they can control the market until the market controls them. Want you to picture this. You're staring at a chart, numbers flashing in real time, each one carrying the weight of possibility. You feel confident, maybe even invincible. Yet beneath that confidence lies a subtle tension, a quiet dread that whispers, what if you're wrong? This is the paradox that Jesse Livermore lived with every single day. The very skill that made him a legend, the ability to read the tape, to anticipate price movements, also made him painfully aware of the fragility of fortune. Livermore understood early that trading is not merely about buying low and selling high, it's about wrestling with your own psychology. Greed tempts you to hold onto a winning position too long. Fear drives you to close it too early. Hope convinces you to ignore evidence. And the cruel irony, the same instincts that allow you to succeed once will inevitably tempt you into failure if left unchecked. Have you ever held onto a trade because hope outweighed reason? Comment below. I want to hear if you've been caught in this same trap. This inner conflict is the battlefield of the mind. Livermore called it the game of speculation. He didn't just watch the market, he watched himself. Each trade was a mirror, reflecting his fears, his arrogance, and his desires. He knew that even the smartest trader could be undone by impatience or self-deception. And yet, the lure of potential profit was irresistible, a siren song that both motivated and destroyed him. This tension between calculated strategy and emotional impulse is something every trader faces. Modern traders with screens filled with algorithms and instant news are no different. The tools may have changed, but the internal struggle remains the same. The tug-of-war between logic and emotion, between discipline and instinct. Livermore thrived when he embraced this struggle. He faltered when he ignored it. And this sets the stage for the real danger, the psychological traps that the market lays for every trader. These aren't visible on charts. They don't announce themselves in headlines. They live inside you, shaping decisions before you even realize it. Next, we'll confront one of Livermore's most infamous psychological traps, the silent force that destroys traders quietly, one impulse at a time. The market doesn't just test your strategy, it tests your soul. I need you to imagine a moment every trader knows too well. you've spotted what seems like the perfect trade. The chart aligns with your plan, your analysis is flawless, and yet something inside you hesitates. That hesitation, that second-guessing, is the psychological trap Jesse Livermore knew better than anyone. He called it the trader's enemy within. It's subtle, insidious, and it grows stronger the more you fear losing. Livermore discovered early that losses are not only financial, they're emotional. A single bad trade can gnaw at your confidence, eroding discipline faster than any market fluctuation. Traders fall into this trap when they let emotion dictate action. Greed drives over-leveraging. Fear drives premature exits. Regret drives revenge trades. Each decision becomes a reaction rather than a strategy. And the cruel reality, the market will punish every lapse. Have you ever acted on fear or greed and immediately regretted it? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your moment of truth. The psychological trap isn't just about mistakes, it's about denial. Livermore noted that traders often ignore signs that they're wrong, clinging to losing positions because they want to be right. He observed this over and over. The market doesn't care about your ego. It moves independently of hope, fear, or wishful thinking. Understanding this is what separates the occasional winner from the consistent pro. He also warned against overconfidence after a streak of wins. Many traders assume that because they succeeded yesterday, tomorrow will be the same. Livermore experienced this firsthand. Periods of triumph would make him vulnerable to devastating losses, precisely because he let success cloud judgment. Emotional management was not optional, it was survival. This trap, the interplay of fear, greed, hope, and ego, is where most traders fail before the market ever truly defeats them. Recognizing it is the first step, but overcoming it requires discipline, strategy, and a mindset that Livermore cultivated throughout his career. Next, we'll explore how Jesse Livermore himself approached these challenges, the philosophy and mindset that allowed him to dominate the market while avoiding, as much as possible, the traps that claimed so many others. To conquer the market, you must first conquer yourself. Jesse Livermore didn't just trade charts, he studied the human mind. He understood that the market is a mirror reflecting our deepest emotions. Every rise and fall, every bull and bear was a test, not just of his analytical skill, but of his self-discipline. He believed that the real money in trading came not from clever strategies or hot tips, but from mastering one's own impulses. Livermore's perspective was both simple and profound. The market is impartial. It doesn't reward hope, fear, or ego. It rewards patience, observation, and decisiveness. When he spoke of the tape, he wasn't referring to stock prices alone. He was referring to the flow of human behavior behind every trade. Every move in the market is influenced by collective emotion, panic, greed, optimism, or despair. Livermore trained himself to read that undercurrent, to anticipate the reactions of others before they happened. Do you think it's possible to trade without emotion? Comment below, could you detach from fear and greed like Livermore? He also stressed the importance of waiting for the perfect opportunity. Livermore would often sit on the sidelines for weeks, even months, observing price action, market sentiment, and trends before committing a single dollar. He said, "The big money is not in the buying or selling, but in the waiting." This patience is a lesson many modern traders overlook in the rush to act on every news headline, every chart signal, every fleeting tip. But Livermore didn't merely wait, he prepared. He studied past mistakes, reflected on emotional reactions, and codified his insights into rules. He embraced the paradox of the market. It offers both opportunity and risk, and the two are inseparable. To him, losses were not failures, they were lessons. Every loss was a guidepost, illuminating where emotion had overridden judgment. This perspective, combining emotional intelligence, tactical observation, and disciplined patience, is what allowed Livermore to succeed repeatedly, even when others were losing everything. It's a mindset that resonates deeply today, especially in a world of instant trades, algorithmic pressure, and relentless market noise. Now let me show you a real-world moment that crystallizes this philosophy, a trade that could have made or broken Livermore, and the lesson every modern trader can take from it. One trade can make you a fortune or teach you the hardest lesson of your life. Let me take you back to 1907, during one of the most dramatic moments of Jesse Livermore's career, the panic that gripped Wall Street. Stocks were tumbling, rumors were spreading like wildfire, and fear had become a tangible force, choking traders across the city. Most saw only disaster, but Livermore saw opportunity. He didn't react with panic. He didn't cling to hope. He observed, calculated, and acted. Imagine standing in his shoes. The ticker is flashing red, brokers are shouting, and the entire street is consumed by chaos. Every instinct screams to flee. Every headline screams catastrophe. Yet Livermore, alone in his office, is calm. He watches the tape and notices patterns, the subtle signals others ignore in their frenzy. He senses where the market's fear is overblown, where panic will trigger predictable moves. What would you have done in his position? Follow the crowd or trust your instincts? Comment below. I'm curious if you'd have the nerve to act differently. With careful timing, Livermore began shorting key stocks. Not recklessly, not emotionally, but strategically. He rode the market's panic like a wave, making millions as the panic unfolded exactly as he anticipated. The lesson here is profound. Livermore didn't beat the market through luck. He beat it through observation, discipline, and mastery over his own impulses. He treated the market as a reflection of human emotion, not a game of chance. Yet as dramatic as these victories were, they came with a personal cost. His triumphs often intensified the inner conflicts we discussed earlier: pride, fear of losing, and isolation. For every fortune he made, there was the shadow of vulnerability. Wall Street applauded the wins, but it rarely acknowledged the mental battles, the sleepless nights, the gnawing awareness that one misstep could undo everything. This moment crystallizes Livermore's philosophy. The market rewards calm, disciplined observation and punishes emotional overreaction. It's a timeless truth. Modern traders, staring at charts or trading apps on their phones, face the same dynamic, just in a faster, noisier world. But triumph is fragile, and even the greatest trader eventually faces the emotional low points that test every rule, every lesson, every ounce of discipline. Let's step into that turning point. Even the greatest can fall, not because the market defeats them, but because they defeat themselves. After years of phenomenal success, Jesse Livermore experienced a moment every trader fears: the emotional collapse that no strategy or insight could prevent. Imagine it: millions made, a reputation unmatched, and yet one wrong decision, compounded by overconfidence and emotional fatigue, can unravel everything. Livermore knew the market's rules, yet he was still human, and in his lows, the market was mercilessly indifferent. This was not just about losing money. It was about losing clarity, confidence, and at times purpose. Livermore faced margin calls, plummeting stocks, and trades that went against him not because of poor analysis, but because he allowed emotion to cloud judgment. He had been seduced by his own success, believing that intuition alone could navigate the storm. This is a trap every trader faces: the belief that past victories guarantee future results. Have you ever been at the edge, watching everything slip through your fingers? Share your experience in the comments. Let's see who felt the weight of trading's emotional storm. What's fascinating is how Livermore reacted. Some would crumble under such pressure, but he treated failure as a mirror, exposing weaknesses in psychology and approach. He realized that markets can test patience, resilience, and ego in ways no textbook ever could. The turning point came when he confronted himself, not the market, not the other traders, but himself. He asked the uncomfortable questions: am I trading with discipline or desire? Am I following rules or chasing illusions? At this emotional nadir, Livermore's personal philosophy began to crystallize. He knew that without control over one's emotions, the most brilliant strategy is useless. The market doesn't forgive human weakness. This low point became a silent teacher, shaping the mindset that would guide his comebacks. He learned that losses aren't just financial, they are psychological, and if ignored, they accumulate faster than money ever could. And it is from this dark moment that Livermore revealed one of his most important rules, a breakthrough that turned despair into his most powerful ally. The secret isn't in predicting the market, it's in mastering yourself. At the height of despair, Jesse Livermore discovered the principle that would define his legacy: never fight the tape and never fight yourself. This wasn't just a trading tip. It was a revelation about human nature and the essence of speculation. He realized that trying to force trades or overrule market signals was the fastest way to ruin. The breakthrough wasn't in technique, it was in restraint, discipline, and self-awareness. Imagine the mental shift. Instead of reacting to every tick of the price, he began to observe, anticipate, and act decisively only when conditions aligned perfectly. The key lesson: wait for the market to tell you the truth instead of imposing your will upon it. Livermore often said, "The stock market is never obvious. It is designed to fool most of the people, most of the time." Recognizing this fact transformed his approach from reactive to strategic. Could you step back and wait, even when temptation whispers? Comment below if patience has ever saved you in trading or life. He also codified rules for handling losses, emphasizing that cutting losses quickly and letting profits run were not optional, they were survival strategies. The market is a living entity, and stubbornness, pride, or hope are liabilities. Livermore learned that discipline is not a restraint, it's a weapon. The trader who masters emotion, who understands when to act and when to wait, has a profound edge. This breakthrough rule resonates far beyond Livermore's era. Today, traders deal with faster markets, algorithmic pressure, and global news cycles, yet the principle remains unchanged. Control your psychology, follow the tape, and never let ego dictate action. It's a lesson in humility, strategy, and mental fortitude, a formula that separates fleeting winners from lasting legends. Now let's translate this timeless lesson into practical guidance for modern traders. The steps you can take today to adopt Livermore's mindset and avoid the traps that destroy so many promising careers. The market may have changed, but human nature hasn't. Even a century after Jesse Livermore roamed the floors of Wall Street, his insights remain shockingly relevant. Today, traders face screens filled with live charts, instant news alerts, and algorithmic trades executing in milliseconds. Yet despite the speed, the fundamentals, the emotional highs and lows, the impulses to act prematurely, the greed that tempts and the fear that freezes remain exactly the same. Livermore's lessons aren't about old markets, they are about human behavior. Consider the modern trader glued to candlestick patterns, trading signals, and price alerts. Without self-discipline, even the most sophisticated tools become dangerous. The temptation to overtrade, chase profits, or hold onto losses is constant. Livermore's rule, "never fight the tape and never fight yourself," becomes a guiding principle. Observe market behavior, trust what the price is telling you, and master your emotional responses. If you can do that, the market becomes predictable, not in the sense of certainty, but in the sense that disciplined behavior consistently yields results. Do you struggle to stay calm when markets turn volatile? Comment below. Let's see who's mastered their emotions under pressure. Modern markets amplify the same psychological traps he warned about. Social media hype, news cycles, and online forums push emotion over logic. Greed whispers, "Buy now, the price will skyrocket," and fear screams, "Sell before it's too late." Livermore's strategy is clear: step back, wait for confirmation, and act decisively when the trend validates itself. Patience and discipline become your allies, not the market. Even tools like stop losses, position sizing, and algorithmic alerts are extensions of Livermore's philosophy. They enforce discipline when human psychology is weakest. The modern trader who understands that the real battlefield is internal, not external, has a decisive edge. Every chart, every news item, every trade becomes a test of self-control, reflection, and strategic patience. Now let's break it down into actionable steps, a step-by-step guide for modern traders to implement Livermore's mindset, avoid psychological traps, and trade with clarity, discipline, and confidence. Knowing the lesson isn't enough, you have to live it in every trade. If you want to apply Jesse Livermore's wisdom to your trading today, it's not enough to read his rules. You must internalize them and make them actionable. Let me walk you through a practical approach that translates his century-old strategies into steps any modern trader can follow. Step 1. Observe, don't react. Before entering any trade, watch the market carefully. Don't jump at every signal or news alert. Livermore would often sit on the sidelines, analyzing price action and waiting for patterns to confirm themselves. Discipline in observation is the first defense against emotional mistakes. Step 2. Follow the tape. Modern traders have charts instead of ticker tape, but the principle is the same. Let the market reveal its trend. Don't impose your will. If the trend confirms your position, enter decisively. If it doesn't, step back. The market communicates constantly. It's your job to listen. Step 3. Cut losses quickly. Livermore's golden rule: losses must be limited and profits must be allowed to run. Determine your exit before entering a trade and stick to it. Don't let hope or ego interfere. Losses are inevitable, but managing them preserves your capital and your sanity. Step 4. Let profits run. Once a trade moves in your favor, don't take small profits prematurely. Trust the trend and let your gains accumulate. Livermore often made more from letting winners run than from winning individual trades. Step 5. Control your psychology. Regularly assess your emotional state. Journaling trades, noting what triggered your decisions, and reflecting on mistakes ensures you are not repeatedly sabotaging yourself. Livermore knew that mental mastery was more important than any technical edge. Step 6. Be patient. Patience isn't passive, it's strategic. Wait for the right setup, the right confirmation, and the right time to act. Trading is a game of selective aggression, not constant activity. Which of these steps do you struggle with most? Cutting losses, letting profits run, or controlling emotions? Comment below. I want to see who's winning the internal battle. Follow these steps consistently, and you're not just trading, you're adopting the mindset of one of the greatest traders in history. Livermore's rules weren't about shortcuts. They were about disciplined, methodical, and emotionally intelligent trading. Implement them, and you give yourself a chance to survive, thrive, and perhaps even dominate your market. Finally, let's close this journey with a cinematic conclusion: the emotional resonance of Livermore's story and the lessons every trader must carry forward. Jesse Livermore conquered fortunes, faced ruin, and left behind lessons that still whisper to every trader today. As we close this journey, imagine the rise and fall of a man whose life was entwined with the heartbeat of the market. Livermore wasn't just a trader, he was a reflection of every emotion, every triumph, and every mistake we encounter when money, fear, and ambition collide. He understood wealth, not as numbers on a page, but as a test of character. Each fortune he gained was hard-won, each loss a brutal teacher, and each trade a mirror reflecting his own psychology. Jesse's story isn't just about money, it's about the human condition. The market is merciless, yet it rewards patience. It punishes ego, yet it gives opportunity to the disciplined. It magnifies fear, yet it amplifies courage. And perhaps the most haunting truth: even the wisest can fall, because the fiercest battle is always with oneself. If you could ask Livermore one question about trading or life, what would it be? Comment below. I want to see how his story resonates with you. For every trader watching today, his life offers a roadmap. Observe without emotion, act with precision, respect the market, and above all, master yourself. Technology, speed, and trends may evolve, but the fundamental lessons remain. Human nature, unchecked emotion, and the temptation to fight the market are the constants. Livermore's brilliance lay in recognizing them, and his legacy lies in teaching us to do the same. So when you next sit at your screen, facing that blinking cursor or that chart that seems to taunt you, remember, the greatest edge you can have is not in your tools or your strategy, but in the calm, disciplined mind that sees the market clearly, feels it honestly, and trades it without ego. And in that moment, you are not just trading, you are walking in the footsteps of the man who beat Wall Street and learned, the hard way, that the real victory is mastering yourself. The screen of numbers glows in the dark room, the city hums in the distance, and the voiceover leaves the viewer reflecting on the fine line between fortune and ruin.